Hi, I'm Mary Schilling with What They Think, continuing with our Cool Tools series. Today, we are at Hunkler Innovation Days in beautiful Lucerne, Switzerland. We're starting off with XMPie, founded in 2000. They have developed a omnichannel campaign software that's easy to use based on Adobe platforms.
Hi, my name is Christoph. I'm the business development manager for XMPie in the German-speaking countries region. Doing this for over a decade now, and you said it right. XMPie is all about personalization and relevancy and delivering this personalized messages to customers and to customers of our customers, of course. So really, XMPie is really the cornerstone of data-driven marketing, with the twist that we do it especially well, combining print and the digital media channels all together in all beautiful marketing and communication workflows.
Wonderful. So I know, or I understand that variable data is sometimes hard for designers to understand, and even the marketing companies. How does XMPie make it easy for marketing and designers to integrate your software for variable data print?
Yeah, exactly. You said it right. VDP, or variable data publishing, can be very intimidating, especially for first-time users, for printers, small, medium businesses, and enterprises alike. So XMPie chose a very different approach to this whole thing. And our whole technology, our whole software platform is about integrating and working together with Adobe tools, for example, which allow designers to use their tools they are already very familiar with, which are the de facto standard in the printing industry, in the prepress industry. And we allow to connect to data from all different kinds of sources, no matter if it's coming from a server database or from an Excel file or CSV text file or whatever. Connect it to your local InDesign, create whatever design you want to create. You can take the most out of InDesign with XMPie. And then produce ready-to-print printing files, which is the whole essence of how XMPie works.
So you talk a lot about variable data, but the really cool part of variable is imaging. Let's talk about some of the samples that you have here.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is especially interesting. So give us a little explanation on this.
So what we have here is an example from the world of programmatic printing or data-driven marketing. There are many words for which describe the same thing. But essentially, imagine in your head, imagine you are a customer and you are a frequent shopper for these kind of products, and this type is outdoor products or fashion products, whatever. And that means, for example, if you purchase things online or if you purchase things with your loyalty card or whatever, the seller knows a lot about you, actually. But this data is just sitting in some warehouse somewhere at Google or Amazon, and nobody really does something with it except like, okay, we write you an email, we give you something, some digital thing, right? It's like dust. It disappears very quickly, right? So XMPie enables you to create this whole personalized workflow and attach it to actual highly creative print pieces, such as this catalog. And I give a rough introduction to this catalog. So again, imagine you bought something, and all this data exists about you. So why not go into the data, make your queries on the data, and then say, look, this customer here, they're interested in things like shoes, because it's not only about printing a name on a piece of paper. That's the easy one, right? You just everybody can do this. But it gets more complicated if you want to have a creative approach and really, really, really want to make it really relevant to the customer, right? So in this case, we have imagery which fits the customer's latest purchases. Or like you see here, this customer bought something different, like probably like outdoor gear, like tents or bags or whatever. And it doesn't stop there. Because XMPie is so deeply integrated into data workflows, we can also adapt and have fully customized pages, individual products, individual text. By the way, these images and these texts, for example, can also be fetched from an AI, for example, so we can integrate that. So imagine you want to bring out this catalog in different countries. And have you ever translated anything online? It's correct by language and grammatic, but it never sounds quite right.
Right.
But AI can translate more like a human being. So you may want to send some text to the AI and then say, look, return to me the right translated text, and we implement it here. That's also not about XMPie as we are not providing this technology, but we enable our customers to connect to this kind of data source and to implement it into a printed piece like this.
So how do you approach designers? Everything starts with a designer.
Yeah.
So how do you approach them that they understand the software and can utilize it in the correct way?
Our main approach going to designers is always the Adobe world and InDesign, because that's what they're familiar with, and that's what gets rid of the, I don't want to say fear, but the respect for having highly data-driven marketing campaigns. Because if your boss comes to you and you're a designer and said, look, we need to go into this, we need to do this because print sells more, variable print sells even more, and print integrated with digital marketing, because this has also like a QR code which you can use to land on a personalized website, which is also from XMPie, by the way, I get to that later. But that can be very intimidating, right? Like, oh, I don't know how to do that. I'm not getting paid to do that. I'm getting paid to work in InDesign and to get the most out of InDesign and to use all the InDesign features and create the most creative print piece, which works on every print press. So XMPie goes to design and say, look, don't worry, we got you covered. We have a plugin in InDesign, and this plugin enables you to use variable data content and connect to data directly from within InDesign. And then all the other steps which are required as well, like scalability, like what happens if you don't want to produce 100 of these, but 1 million. You're Amazon and you want to do this on a very large scale. Even there we can support designers, because even though the technology deals with all the production and all the PDF generation, all this technical stuff, we always, in the bottom ground, it's always based on Adobe InDesign. So even if there's a late change, all of a sudden, 5 minutes before production, the designer needs to change the logo, they don't need to halt the production for 2 days because now a programmer needs to come in and to do this. The designer opens InDesign, changes the logo, changes some text maybe, re-uploads or saves the document again and submits it to production, and that's it. That's the offering we're making to specifically for the designer, to get rid of this whole complexity and make it more natural for a designer.
Absolutely. So makes it very easy, usability, but let's talk about the data. So if a designer wants to do something like this, they have to communicate to marketing for them to get the correct data in the right formats. So how do you approach the designer to talk about it's not design anymore, it's data, which is kind of out of their wheelhouse?
Yeah, that's correct. And it's always something where you need to learn something new, of course. XMPie offers a lot of training. We have multiple support and help sites, online campuses which train new designers for exactly this new concept and this new language the designer might have to speak. However, everything is made in a way that it caters to the designer. I'll give you an example. You don't have to be a data programmer or something to connect to this data. You have this little plugin in InDesign. You open the plugin, you open like you would do every other thing in InDesign, and then you say, connect me to this Excel file, for example. That doesn't relieve you of the fact that data sometimes is not very well formatted, or there are mistakes or errors in it. So XMPie gives you a lot of tools to play with it, to not have to call the data programmer or the sales, the front office, every time something's wrong. You can work around this, if you like, to get results.
That's
fantastic. What designers want, right?
Yeah, absolutely. They want to be able to be creative, not have to worry about...
They don't want to deal with it.
No, they don't. So that's wonderful. So we were talking just now with Christoph, who did an overview of the form of the software. Now we're going to do a deeper dive into the actual functionality and usability.
Hi, I'm Phil Gaskin, Business Development Channel Manager for XMPie. And I'm going to show you how our software integrates seamlessly into the Adobe creative environment. So we are truly Adobe native. And unlike virtually all data-driven print and omnichannel applications, We protect the design integrity. We work at an object level, meaning that we're not just putting text on, we're actually controlling the look and the feel of the document for each individual recipient based on the data that we have for them. So full end-to-end color management, also typographical control, not normally something that you would associate with high volume print, but of course, because of our integration into that creative environment, it makes it very, very easy. What you see on the screen is just a screenshot, if you like, of Adobe InDesign. We support PC and Macintosh. I've linked this to a database, and it's a retail example for a Northern mailer, a catalogue. And based on buying history or interest in products, we're able to personalize each and every one of these to an individual based on what we know about their preference. So at a very simple level, if we look at the cover, we're pulling a different version of cover based on where their interest might lie. So in some cases it's fishing, other it's camping, hiking, etc. You'll also see on the screen there that we're personalizing each and every one as well. And we're deliberately doing that in a particular font, in a particular style, because we are natively inside of that creative environment. That's just the cover. And I think Christoph showed you some of the printed examples. But if I scroll through this document, you'll see it's a really, really nicely designed document. But inside of that document are products that will vary by recipient based on where that interest might be. So we're promoting and targeting each individual person based on that preference that we know about. If I just go towards the back of this, and you'll see there's many pages in this document, you'll also see that we're providing a particular offer, and that offer might vary based on whether they're an existing customer, whether they've purchased before, how much they spend. And so you'll see that the offer value varies, as indeed does the personalization. And the call to action on here is a QR code. If I scan a QR code, which is on inside cover of each and every one of these, not only will it take me to my offer, but it will continue that personalized experience for that particular person. So in this case, Clementine, again, with that particular interest. So now we've transitioned from the physical print into the digital space with a more immersive but interactive experience that's mirroring that relevancy and that personalization that we were able to start the journey with in the print.
So because depending on how many changes and how much personalization is in this, the file can get rather large. How do you handle these large files? They can get quite cumbersome.
Yeah, everybody assumes that, and our skill in that area is that back to that object-based approach. So we will look at a document, and even though each one of these documents is completely unique, completely relevant to each individual, there are commonality, or there are areas of commonality. So for example, this is for two different people, their name changes, but the image is the same. So we treat that as an object, and that object is intelligently put into the print stream. So rather than have a huge file that's got every single version of this image, we're actually just putting the individual unique elements. And that can go right down to where I might have two fills. So I'm caching just elements rather than constantly just making a bigger and bigger and bigger file. And of course, the modern printing technology that's out there understands this and is able then to do the deconstruction of that file to be able to get the efficiency for the printing process as well.
Is there any particular file formats that the designer needs to be aware of? Do you take TIFF, JPEG, EPS,
anything that Adobe supports?
Fantastic.
We can control. And the same goes for language, which is again something interesting in retail, direct mail. If you know what language somebody speaks, then there's the ability to switch language, whether it's left to right or right to left as well.
No, that's pretty impressive. So from a designer aspect, doing variable data in a omni-channel campaign where now anything that goes to the customer is now for them. It is not general. It is basically, it takes your buying habits and it's personalized for you. So this is something that's exciting, and this works very well with inkjet digital printing. I'm Mary Schilling with What They Think. Thanks for watching.